Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. Everybody's here. All the boys are here. We got
First of the year.
First of the year pod. Everyone's here. How we doing, guys?
Can't wait to see what Fresh Horrors 2023 has in store.
Oh, there's already been some.
We've already lost Ken Block.
All right. Yeah, I'm maybe a little bit more optimistic. I think things have already proven to be very funny and very entertaining.
For sure, entertaining.
Just wait for COVID 23.
I mean, like, hey, can't come get me in my compound. You know, I ain't leaving. I ain't going nowhere.
Jealous.
Yeah,
I'm dodging it left and right.
Of the wilderness.
The greatest risk I took was, signing up for the James Cameron starter car, enlisting in the Avatar forces to go to Pandora. Yeah, Matt and I are both saluting. Mike, have you been blessed by the way of water yet?
I have not.
Come on.
I have not.
Come on.
I'm out here dodging COVID left and right, though. I think I'm one of those people that can't get it.
You're letting us down.
What you need to do is you need to wear the razor face mask with the Dyson air purifier over it, and then go to the movie theater. You won't die. It's impossible.
Did you?
I go to court every day. I'm exposed, constantly.
Such an interesting.
You should be wearing clothes
in
society. Let's just clarify that.
Should be wearing what?
Clothes. You should not be exposed in court.
I am wearing clothes and a mask. KF94, baby.
Who are you saying, Andrew?
Did any of you see the pricing on that Dyson headset?
No.
Isn't it like
$1,000?
Yeah, I thought it was like $949 or something.
Goddamn Scandinavians. Yeah, goddamn Scandinavians. Come on.
Yeah.
You know what the funny part is?
Say when you don't have to pay for healthcare, you have that disposable income.
I was gonna say the funny part is like they can price their stuff the way they do because no one can actually touch it.
I mean, like they are
plebes down here.
Yeah, there's some high quality engineering for sure. Although again, all that stuff, all the air purifying stuff is quackery. I'm
speaking more on the scale of their vacuum cleaners, which are are incredible. I've constantly wanted to buy a Dyson, like anything, just to take it apart, which is like how sick I am as a person.
To infringe upon their copyright.
How dare you? I wouldn't use I would never use a 3D printer to replicate anything.
I'm more of a shark vacuum cleaner kind of guy.
See, those like break down too easily.
So I got the high end one.
Well, it's because you don't. It's because you don't have a dog a dog that sheds a lot living in. No,
I got cats that are shedding a lot here.
That's true, but like I feel like cat hair is not as bad as. It depends on it depends. Yeah, if it's a long hair cat, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
you don't know the struggle.
A lot. Yeah, exactly. You touch it, and then your hand is just like a fur.
All right, so we are ringing in the new year with some changes to the podcast formula. Gone are the days of our weekly yet somehow still a week late updates on gaming news. We have some interesting things in the queue that we will we'll tease a little bit at the end, but I'll save the rest for now. We are going to ease ourselves into it. We are still going to do a news episode, but it's going to be more about like it's going to be a little bit more free form, and we're going to do a little bit more like what were like our top news stories of the last month. We're only going to do one of those a month. That way we can hopefully stop talking about Activision as much, although I'm pretty sure Mike wants to talk about Activision for one of his stories. So I guess with that, Mike, do you want to take us away with what was your top story for the month, so we can kind of get it out of the way?
I've really been enjoying not waking up to the Activision sleep paralysis demon every night. I guess he's back in my room again.
Well, he's been out of my room, so back in mine as well. So yeah, I found it interesting. largely that they retracted their response to the antitrust complaint against them. And I was
Well,
surprised.
yeah, that's what happens when you lash out drunk and angry one night, and you have to send the text like a week later, like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it."
Well, what's crazy to me is like in our current political climate and you know largely our Supreme Court makeup, they were they they had great arguments that John Roberts was just gonna gobble 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 up like a little fucking gremlin that he is, and completely destroy like all agencies in America as we know them today
I mean,
by
that's
FTC.
that's like that precedent has basically already been set, right? Things like how they've gutted the EPA and all that. They're trying to.
Well, that's like the pernicious like little bits of it, but this was just teeing John Roberts up to fucking destroy
Well,
all delegation doctrine.
Okay, well, see, like that. Well, then that's where I would say like it makes a little bit more sense that they would kind of pull back, because that is, while that may be Robert's, wet dream kind of thing to have that be the ultimate cause, he is an incrementalist in that regard, right?
This is like his pet project is been like
I understand, but it's
against delegation theory.
It's effectively always been tempered. You could say that this argument maybe has gone out of the window since the since the abortion, the overturning of Roe. But like his other thing, though, it's always, his pet projects have always been tempered by his need to maintain legitimacy of the courts, right?
Yeah, no, of course, but this is especially in the realm of antitrust. I could see not wanting to just gut it completely through the EPA cases that they've heard. That's like more of a touchy subject. I feel like they, can get away with antitrust there because of the way we already view antitrust as like a very much consumer protections. Right. You could get away with like gutting it as long as those consumer protections are there. So you could, continue to, spew rhetoric against like, or for the reasons why like corporate, consolidation is good for the consumer and we should let it happen. And then just, gut the idea of agencies being constitutional.
Yeah. So for the listeners at home, what was their argument of saying that the FTC was unconstitutional?
Oh, I mean, it was a pretty like bare bones argument that people are making, but it's that people have made throughout since the the Second World War, when during that time in FDR's New Deal, there's a lot of agencies popping up because part of the New Deal is delegating authority away from the legislative body and the executive body to these agencies so they could administer the projects, and a lot of the agencies we know today come out of that. So what their argument is, and which has always been the reactionary conservative argument and one of John Roberts's favorite, is that it's just unconstitutional to delegate that power away. That it violates separation of powers because you're giving this agency pretty much a little bit of everyone's power. They're quasi judicial, they're quasi legislative, quasi executive, and the ability to enforce the law. So their argument is that it should remain in those separate bodies of power that we have. That it shouldn't be like commingled. So it would strip away a lot of the agencies that provide benefits and social services, or protect our environment, or like the consumer and the worker. It's just like goodbye to everything except for like the Secretary of Defense. Like they're technically agencies, but like all those traditional ones stay. and all of like the fun ones go. So it's that argument, and then from that it violates their due process because they don't have a neutral judge because of the separation of powers issue.
Yeah, because they have like internal judges appointed for.
Yeah, you have an administrative judge.
Yeah.
Which if you didn't have those, you would have, because most of those people aren't even really like judges. They're just like an administrative body or like an agency head that's doing the adjudicating. So if you get rid of those, it's like, you talk about a overcrowded judicial system, to begin with. It's like, well, here's the fucking tidal wave, because everything's going to the judicial system if it can't be handled in the agency.
Interesting point. I mean, it is surprising to me that they they throw out, say that this is where we get that argument that it's Microsoft being like, yep, let's fully upend executive agency, like let's throw that out, but then it is just like, oh wait, no, maybe we've overstepped a little bit, maybe we're being a little too antagonistic.
But what's crazy to me is like in an answer like that, like you're putting in all of your like defenses, all of your like you're throwing the smorgasbord at it, because you want to preserve the ability to bring that at a later time. You may not argue that may not be like the crux of what you're looking for, but you're going to throw it in there. So it's weird to me that they took it out when like they, I don't think it's legitimate, but the system thinks that's a legitimate argument, and it could definitely go up through the appellate system with that argument and be successful at certain points and not at others, but and maybe ultimately get it to the Supreme Court. But it's a valid point for them to make. So I still haven't figured out what the reason why you would retract that and amend your response.
I think they're just trying to save public face a little bit and try to be like, go back, because they lost their cool a little bit. They blew their like cool guy cover that they were trying to pull with all of the how they were covering everything. We want to be like for all gamers.
I mean, your
everywhere.
average dingus doesn't understand this. Like, doesn't know what that argument is, or like that is a kind of a little bit out there argument.
What they're doing is they're having regular people see, oh, they said it was unconstitutional, but they retracted that. Like they're saying they're backing off that claim.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
they're seeing it as the good thing, not.
But I think preserving that like legal claim, if I'm their lawyer and want to, zealously defend my client, that's a claim to keep in there. Like, the public perception on retracting it or whatever isn't going to outweigh the, the potential.
Since when have corporate lawyers had been morally consistent or
exactly
have anything beyond again the financial interest of their clients, right?
Yeah, and to me the financial interest lies in in keeping that claim in and not amending it, unless I'm missing something. But like I said, that everything's in their favor right now to keep that claim in and be successful on it.
Do they think that it would just, maybe that, that's a potential gain to be had, but, maybe there's some internal calculus that like it would further increase the, the financial burden on getting the deal, signed, that's their higher prerogative.
Yeah. And it also could be
imagine dragging
the judge it's in front of
his acquisition in the end.
I mean, because there's also something we've talked about in the past, how there's like, Microsoft has this burden that if they are not perceived to, do everything in their power to make the deal go through, or to have done something that could be in any way viewed as, torpedoing the deal, that it opens them up to, a lawsuit from Activision. I remember we covered something about there's something.
Yeah, but I don't think this torpedoes the deal, leaving that in. you know.
It's more just about like the perceived level of antagonism could, make because there is also the administrative part of it, right? It's like
Timing.
that match is kind of brought up that, like, if regardless of if they'd be successful, if it drags it out past a certain date, if it doesn't close, it collapses. Like there is a date that it has to be done by, or else it falls
I'm pretty
apart.
sure that's June 30th of this year.
Right.
But I would assume that litigation would pause that, any sort of timer like that.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we saw something about.
There was something
I'll have
that
to look into
said
that.
if the FTC suit continued,
This was
beyond that
expected
date-
to have passed like at this point a year ago.
Yeah, but it's it's not surprising that it is dragging out.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like the June 30th of this year is like that was probably like, if any litigation happens, it should be well done by then, like because they're expecting this to close quicker,
Yeah.
and they've been under investigation for a while, and they've been, back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right, and that they're trying to keep it within that timeline and realize that this would drag it out.
The only thing that matters though is I'm pretty sure Afghanistan said the deal was okay. So
That's cool.
There's a bunch of very cool and interesting places that have been like, yes, all good with me. I also saw something the other day that they were like, oh yeah, we're still going to close the deal even if the FTC says no. I'm like, I didn't think you could do that.
I mean, you just get fined. I mean, what other enforcement? I don't know
guess,
if they
yeah,
have
these-
like criminal
yeah,
enforcement against
yeah.
them. I mean, maybe, but it'd be like a criminal fine and be, fancy man's prison.
Yeah,
Might be a vacation home.
the one thing I was thinking of is like, was this an attempt to maybe get to a more favorable judge, and then like they realized that might not be the outcome,
the path.
Yeah. Is that a possibility?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like maybe they realized that they miscalculated the judge, and this is not a Trump judge that would totally bite on that argument.
Right.
Could very well be, and that like the judge would drag it out past that date.
What is this court? What state is this under? Is it California?
It's federal.
It's just federal.
It's federal. I don't know what circuit it's. Hold on, I could.
Yeah, sorry. I think that was.
Well, it's still in the administrative phase.
Yeah.
So it's up against the administrative law judges of the FTC. Beth Wilkinson, counsel for Microsoft Corp. Yep, Skadden. That's hilarious. Oh, that's Activision Blizzard's counsel.
Yeah, I just feel like this. I can't decide if this was intentional or not. Like, was this just someone?
I mean, I'd said it in the group chat yesterday. It looks like
scam.
Microsoft is emotionally lashing out because they're not getting what they wanted.
No,
I mean,
I agree.
there's a quote here from like their public affairs that say, we initially put all potential arguments on the table internally and should have dropped these defenses before we filed. That seems like a little bit like they're covering their asses.
Yeah, exactly.
That screams spin to me.
That or some associate fucked up and sent the wrong one in.
Sent the wrong draft.
Yeah, and is about to get his ass whooped.
I mean, like never underestimate corporate incompetence, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm curious. Like, is this just?
I mean, I don't think it's an
incompetence?
ass whooping he gets. I think he just gets sent to Bill Gates' special island with the man.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Jeffs
Skadden wouldn't surprise me.
All righty, so
Funny to me though, because Microsoft is all in on focusing on that deal, and Sony is just all in on focusing on making a car with Honda.
they're just having a great time. They're just having a grand old time over there. Well,
dude, I'm excited for that car.
I mean, like the things look kind of cool, but I mean, I feel like the production level has got to be better than a fucking Tesla. But
anything is better than a Tesla.
Yeah, So that's the one thing that I think is interesting about this, like the whole idea, because they're calling it a Fila. I think that's a weird name. I think
It is a very weird name, Afila.
I think they could have done
like,
a lot
hardly
better
know
than
her.
that. But I haven't looked in to see if there's anything like Japanese that it could be like short for or something that makes more sense in their
How do you not just know
ours.
that? How do you? I thought you were fluent.
I only speak anime. It's different.
It is very different. No, because I mean, jokes aside, when like he and I are watching JoJo in Japanese, when like certain different like just only Japanese stuff comes up, whenever I ask him, he knows the answer.
There is a distinct like difference between actual Japanese dialogue and anime.
Yes,
but the feel like they're doing the whole like it's got a PS5 built in, and like I think that's a weird because like Tesla does that already with I think it's Steam that's built in.
That was a thing that it wasn't. It's a newer thing, right? That it's like Steam is now available on your Tesla, which again is their marketing is like, oh yeah, the driver does it.
While it drives you into
while it drives,
while full self-driving drives you into a semi-trailer because it can't tell the difference between a semi-trailer and an open road.
And meanwhile, you can only play like mobile games through Steam. It's not
no,
even,
you could
like,
play
full
Witcher.
games.
You had Witcher 3. You had like that was the one that they marketed the biggest.
Yeah, and then your Tesla lights on fire.
Well, so that's the part that's weird is that when you have EVs, like the idea of playing video games in your EV, you're actively taking away from your mileage.
Yeah, just draining your battery.
I gotta put ray tracing on. I gotta put ray tracing on and just open that. It's like I've now stalled in the middle of the highway.
Miles.
I'm just stalled in the middle of the highway. Oh fuck!
Stranded in the Mojave because I was playing too many games.
Because like I've seen the argument that it's like for while you're charging, because some of these EVs can take like for a full charge upwards of like an hour and a half to sit at the station.
Yeah,
my logic there is like we all know how bad it is to use electronics while they charge. We do it anyway because it's like just part of society. But like it does degrade battery over time. So like I wonder how bad it's going to be sitting like charging your car playing like PS5 off the 240 volt.
You do that for a year and like your battery's 50% of capacity at that point.
Well, I mean, don't even factor in the fact of like cold weather and how that affects battery rate. But
and what sucks is like a lot of those batteries, and with Tesla especially, they have the quick swap, so you can just swap out your battery for a fully charged one. So you're just fucking like actively destroying the supply of batteries out there.
Yeah, I've seen the argument of people saying
I just got a trunk
of
full
EV
of lithium.
chargers, it should just be battery banks that are all, take your module out, put it in, pull a new one out, put it in.
Yeah, but like think of like the each time you're just degrading a new battery, you play the fucking Witcher 3 on, Ultra with ray tracing and the, NVIDIA hair fucking so you see every strand of hair.
And like I've seen the argument also around like because I did this as a child when we were in Boy Scouts, we were going to bumfuck Rangeley, Maine, which if you don't know is like the single northern tip of edge of society in Maine.
Edge of society in general.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's Canada. There's stuff up there. I don't know if it's real or not.
Yeah,
it could all be fairy tales until I actually go there myself. But what we did was we plugged we were in someone's minivan. They had one of those like shitty flip down screens in the minivan.
Plugged
and we had a GameCube that we plugged into the lighter adapter.
Yep.
And we were playing GameCube.
Reject modernity, embrace tradition. Come on, give me the 3x5 little monitor.
Yep. Were you just like fucking running the car, just burning fuel, just idling there?
Well, I mean, it was while we were driving because it was Boy Scout. So obviously, when we got to camp, we weren't doing.
Yeah, that's what I was
going to say. Things to do. You were being groomed.
Yeah,
you were too busy being groomed.
Yes,
allegedly,
groomed in the ways of.
I don't think it's alleged. Most chapters have been pretty confirmed. You have been doing sexual abuse.
I could say that 198 wasn't.
Yeah, we're not we're not talking
There's
about
one-
specific ones, but a good majority of at least.
No,
have-
sure. I
That was
trust that
actually a
your
really fun
dad,
camping
who
trip.
was
We
the
went,
scoutmaster, was
my dad was scoutmaster.
Yeah, exactly. I trust he was a good guy.
I was
Like,
going
that was
through
a cool trip though.
just
We went
quick little
whitewater rafting down the Dead River.
quick little tangent though. Like we were going through some like old like collectibles, or not collectibles, just keepsakes. That was the thing. And I found my old Boy Scouts uniform, and it's just like seeing like the for God and country and all that. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like what they were literally trying to train me to.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to help other people, to obey the scout law, to I think I skipped something there. Help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Morally straight.
You know who was never a Boy Scout? This guy.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And good on
You know
your
who
parents.
puts that he was a
Yeah.
Boy Scout on his resume, and it gets him into interviews? This guy.
Yeah. Sure.
Did you make Eagle Scout?
Yes.
That's right.
I
What was
got
your,
it
what
before
was your
raised-
and
project?
became the first person in our troop to ever do that.
What was your project?
I helped build a path out by what's it called? What was the kindergarten?
Darcy.
Yeah, there was like a nature path out there.
They took down Rico's sign recently that he did for
Mm.
his and replaced it with the standard blue sign that they're doing throughout.
Oh, that was
whole
the he
town.
did the rec center, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was just raised in the wilderness by my father.
So yeah, I don't
You
need. I
got
don't.
personal Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on
Was-
my
was it like
hands
God
and
of
knees
War?
tracking
Did he call
blood
you boy?
trails. Yeah,
He's
no,
like,
exactly.
Get deer, and you're like, where do we go? And he's like, where there are deer.
Exactly.
All right, back to the car.
Yeah.
My question is, what do you guys think of it aesthetically? What do you think of the look?
All the EVs
It looks
are
like a
terrible
Honda.
looking.
Looks Japanese.
Yeah,
Looks-
very EV.
it-
I gotta pull it up again.
To me, it looks
Nothing
it's just
stand out.
it looks very
Yeah.
kind of bland.
Bland. Yeah.
yeah, generic.
I mean, I'm all for bland design if it comes with bland price tag. Like, I think the EV market in particular needs to like tone down how luxurious they're trying to be, because they're
Mhm.
trying to court the more expensive people.
Yep.
And start
agree with
releasing
that.
some more, like, obviously there's still like the Nissan Leaf and like the Chevy Volt and stuff like that, but release some more just like basic sedans instead of like a
The
car with
Porsche.
72 screens and
Or
fully
instead
automatic
of
adjustment seats.
say instead of all of this, how about we just get
Trains.
mass transit, high speed rail, and give everybody a Steam Deck, so you can play your games on the train.
I'm
Fuck yes,
like
fuck
that's
yes,
a
fuck
platform
yes.
to run on. 2024. We need to find someone who's 35, and that's
I mean, the only issue with that being that we do have like areas in this country that do not suit themselves to train travel and mass transit in the same way. We live in one of them.
you could do it.
I'm pretty sure you could do it. I mean, I am not a transportation specialist by
There's
any
ways
means,
to
but
do it.
I'm pretty sure there are ways to do it.
I just know that the train
China has
network
it
in Vermont
everywhere.
is built to avoid the mountains.
I mean, that is a bit of an
Going-
issue.
That's why we get dwarves and we just cut through. I mean
just
the
c-
mythical ones.
Yeah, you can't. But like with that, like you always run the risk of digging too deep and too greedily, in awakening the
Hitting a dragon.
awakening the Balrog of Morgoth. Like that's
Imagine if you did that at a good old sleeping giant and you woke it up.
No, he ate too many oysters, man. He's out.
But
White
like,
pizza.
ooh. But like, I don't. The thing about these is like, Matt, I'm curious for your perspective from a safety standpoint of like just putting so much more glass inside of a vehicle. Like when it crashes, are people just going to be eating screens? Like that's
No, you'd
That's
actually
what
be
I think
surprised
about.
at how durable those screens are.
they make them.
They've got a plastic film inside them to prevent shattering in the way that
Okay.
you would have like a normal glass. It's more of the same thing like a windshield.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
the same
even
deal
like
where
your windows that go up and down now, and most cars
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
That it makes it impossible to break out. Like you really need one of those puncture things.
yeah.
nothing is
All right,
impossible.
Fair enough.
Much
I
harder.
watched a video where a cop showed me how to open any car window with 2 toilet plungers. He just stuck them to the window and just pulled down and overpowered the motors.
Hilarious.
And it was supposed to be something for like teaching you how to like get into your like own locked car. And it was like
helping criminals.
Yeah,
the
he's
caption was like,
creating
not all
criminals for
cops are
himself to catch.
bastards.
Yeah.
He's
One
just
thing I'll
helping
say
the
about the
criminal
design of this is
pipeline.
like I do like the clean like lines of it.
I think the interior, I
Simple
mean, it's all
design.
concept stuff, right? You know, this is
Yeah.
this
Oh,
Yeah,
is
I'm talking
they're
about the
saying that
exterior.
2025 is a target year. So
yeah. The inside stuff though looks a little bit nice.
I will say this has come very far because it was like a year or so ago where it was like Sony's looking to partner with a Japanese car manufacturer to make
I
an
do
EV.
remember that.
But what about this? So there's going to be 45 cameras in and outside the car.
That's become
no
that's one of the
masturbating in the
other
back seat
weird
of the back seat of your
standards.
Sony car, unless you want that shit broadcast.
that's like, well, it's mostly outside cameras where it's all like to create like the 360 view. If you've paid
Yeah.
attention to any of like the modern EVs, it's become like a typical feature that they have where you'll have the
Even
ability
just
to like
luxury cars.
yeah, it's for parking and whatnot and stuff
Yeah.
to make sure you're in your space right and to help the car auto park.
If it
So-
doesn't crab walk, I don't fucking want it.
It has
Another-
Yeah, you want the
another-
$150,000 Hummer.
No, I just want the James Cameron crab mech.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beastly.
So my question is the steering wheel. It's really cool.
I
looking.
hate it. I hate it. I hate
Oh,
it.
it's cool
It is.
looking.
That's
It looks
not-
like you're a spaceship. It actually looks like a spaceship. But
Yeah, but
how
Joe
the
used to do
fuck
that with
do
his
you
Volkswagen
turn?
just by sticking his hands into the gap.
I do remember that. That's what I immediately
He went into
thought of.
X-wing. He went into X-wing.
Yeah,
X-wing mode.
Yeah, the X foils.
It's a U shape
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
steering wheel. So how
It
do
won't
you,
it won't be allowed to go through that way in the same way that Tesla tried to do that. And then
gonna
safety
say.
regulators like, no, sir, you need a wheel for like accessibility standards. It's like
Yeah,
you need to be able to hand over hand your wheel instead of like having to palm it.
well, you can't even fucking palm it. Like you would
Yeah.
have to like I don't know, you just like wouldn't be able to go fully.
I mean,
around.
I just the fact that of like there's the gap part missing on the top, but it's the rectangular element. You're going to be hitting your knees like a
Yeah.
long-legged
fair,
gentleman
yeah.
like Matt and myself would just be you'd just be ramming your knees every time you're trying to make a turn. So I'm not a fan of those.
Imagine
in general,
punching the
but-
soft spot on your knee and causing your reflex to kick in, causing you to slam on your gas.
Again, and then like as Mike said, you've got your trunk packed full of lithium batteries. You're just creating a
will say,
a small bomb going at 80 miles an hour.
That most EVs now are shifting to, I know this because I work in batteries, everyone who's listening, are shifting to a new chemistry. It's called LFP, lithium iron phosphate. It's supposed to be considerably more stable and less explodey.
less volatile.
LFP only accounts for like 2% of battery fires per year or something like that compared to lithium ion, which is the one that likes to go boom.
I love how you can't send that shit through the regular mail.
Yeah, the one you
Yeah.
can't
This is-
mail
this
or
is-
take
this
on
is-
a plane.
Yeah, this is a weapon.
I mean,
So
so because I work in batteries, small tangent. It's like we have to have fire suppression in our systems for when the batteries go boom, if they go boom, or if like an electrical fire happens and something catches on fire, which is more common. But like the fire suppression systems we have in there are so disgusting because they're basically this like mucus gel that has to coat everything because lithium creates its own oxygen, making itself a self-sustaining fire. And
it's just coming everywhere. It's just
yeah, so it basically
you
just splooges and covers everything so it can't create the oxygen.
just going to fucking town.
well I want to know like how these will be affected because Zimbabwe recently banned lithium exports, and that was like a huge up and coming market
Based.
Hell
of
yeah.
lithium.
Hell yeah.
And like a lot of Chinese like huge lithium.
I mean, like we fear
Suppliers.
like
It'd
solidarity
be a
with
shame
them.
if there wasn't an American company who was creating a free trade American lithium.
I say there's definitely going to be a regime change coming there sometime soon.
Oh,
so
for sure. Yeah. Without a doubt.
I just speak from
yeesh.
experience, but
because that mining process and the the slave practices in the mining process.
sir, they're not
fucking
slaves. They
terrible.
get paid 14 cents a day.
Yeah.
Like that makes
And
them
fingers
serfs. Get it
chopped
right.
off if
Makes them serfs. So this was put out at the CES show.
I love
Is
me
that-
some CES.
is that
it's
where
like my
Sony-
second favorite holiday?
Say as a quick shout out, is that also where Sony unveiled the Project Leonardo, their biblically accurate joystick, the new accessibility controllers that
Yes.
look very cool, very interesting. I am intrigued by I mean, like, say for me, someone who is not disabled, it looks way more complicated than a normal.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed
system,
to be
but,
like hyper customizable
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So I'm sure there'll be.
So yeah, this is not as not disabled. This is not for me.
I was gonna say, and if you
you
watched the presentation they had for it, it looked like the entire team was designed around people with disabilities of various types. To
Yes, and it's been made in conjunction with I forget the names of the organizations. Several disability, not just
advocacy groups.
not just advocacy groups, but like I mean, I guess that you could call them that, but like it's being made with input from actual disabled people.
Well, no, something like sad and twisted. I've seen people angry that they didn't just use the Microsoft accessibility controller instead of building their own.
What?
The
I
internet's a
read that
wild
and I was like,
place,
oh,
man.
good. Never change Reddit. Do your thing.
Never. That's some real Xbox shit.
Like
right there.
rather than have more competition in a space to make better products, let's just have one.
That's what capitalism wants to do. So
Yeah, the one thing I saw that it will be the significant holdup, and this will be the last thing I say about this because this wasn't the main thing we wanted to cover, but this can't be truly an accessible thing if it's priced at like $200+ per thing. This thing has got to be affordable.
I mean, controllers in general are barely affordable at this point.
Right.
Like
A
$80
regular
for the-
regular one is 79 or I forget if it's 69 or
69.
79.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 79.
They're
I'm gonna look it
up
up right
there.
now.
The
'Cause
the
I
newer
was
ones are
looking-
up there.
Because I got frustrated playing God of War with my Xbox controller.
Ooh, I would have gotten really mad at that.
I got over it.
I mean, you should
quickly
just
when
get
I
a
saw the
PS. You
price.
should just get a PS4
Even the
controller.
PS4 ones were like, hella expensive for the
Yeah.
for the real
PS4
one.
controllers have gone up in price because they've gone out of production.
Yeah.
It's
So-
the lovely bell curve of cost.
That's unfortunate
So I had
because
to suck
I've
it up
still
and be
I
a
have still
plebe.
found using a PS5 controller on PC to be sometimes not doable.
I'm gonna see how it
some
goes
games
with
do,
the
some
Edge,
don't.
because I'm gonna get the Edge and try to make that my
I mean,
PC controller.
it's game based, like some games just don't want you to use it at all. Don't let you use it at all. Like I
So
don't
on
think
Amazon for a PS5 controller, right now the lowest you could get, and it's from a Spanish selling control. Is $69.99, but most of them are actually higher than $80. There's $74, and then there's some that are $94. So sold by Sony on Amazon, you can only get one for $95 right now.
Meanwhile, you could probably go to Best Buy and find it for $69.99.
Well, I'm gonna check Best Buy.
So I just checked in the Microsoft
it's $70.
accessibility controller.
It's $69 on from Sony.
Yeah. So the Microsoft accessibility controller comes in at 100. So I'm assuming they're gonna do the thing that they've done with everything and target the exact same price as their competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
so
mean, yeah,
70 on Best Buy.
That's not terrible, but particularly for someone who would probably want two of them, that's a lot.
Yeah. But it's also like, I'm going to say this for everyone listening to the podcast: don't buy electronics on Amazon. It's a coin
yeah.
flip if you're going to get a legitimate product.
unless you know how to buy properly on Amazon and look for like the,
actual
yeah.
companies.
Oh, I've seen plenty of legitimate images of like pro controller boxes that get shipped as good fakes, but fakes nonetheless.
No, you got to like look sold by Amazon, not
and
just
I'm
fulfilled by Amazon.
I'm not like, a proponent of Amazon at all.
Same.
But the one thing is, like, if you're getting something that's sold by Amazon and through Prime or whatever, you can return it very easily. That's the one good thing.
I buy from Best Buy because they've never wronged me.
Yes.
I said the good thing. Do you give me a credit limit increase?
You just got a $10 gift card in your email.
Yeah.
We should keep moving though.
Yeah. Andrew, what was your top story for the month?
Yeah, so keeping with our tech, a little bit of a tech-based theme here. The first one I wanted to talk about today was about the new applications of the Meta Quest headset, which
Oh boy.
we are big fans of Meta over here at the pod, as you listeners are aware.
HTC better.
But anyways, Meta's Horizon Worlds, which is their VR social offering, and something that they've touted as a reason to buy a Quest headset.
Not just a Quest headset, a Quest Pro.
Yes, a Quest
Pro.
Pro.
Could I just say something quickly? I always get confused on who makes Meta when they talk about Meta's Horizon, or like that it's because the Horizon and Sony, it's just too confusing. They fucked up.
Yeah, no, calling it Horizon Worlds is stupid in my opinion as well.
No, they didn't fuck up. They did that intentionally to muddy the waters. When people look for Horizons, they might accidentally find Meta and be like, "Oh, this is the Horizon people like."
Yeah, they probably did for grandmas.
Grandmas spending their money.
Yeah. And my grandson said he loves them Horizon games, so let's get him a membership to a virtual workspace where he can sit at a virtual desk and get migraines at age 12.
Yeah, I'd love to see the effects of VR headsets on young eyes in particular, as they're still growing and adjusting. I think we're going to have an epidemic of people with worse vision than me when they get older.
I'm sure there's people that got fucked up by the 3DS.
They just had their brain chemistry our brain chemistry is forever being rewritten.
I had to shut that shit off all the
3DS never affected me. I could turn the 3D on and was fine with it.
That's because your eyes are so fucked up.
Like you had to have like perceive the difference. Couldn't perceive the difference
because I'm only looking out one eye anyway.
My eyes.
I have no depth perception.
Yeah,
see, I was reading a little bit. I'm fairly certain. Like I basically cannot use. I cannot use a VR headset because the people are saying like, oh yeah, if you use it for more than 30 minutes or whatever, like it has to do with like your balance system, which I've since having to do some testing and some physical therapy like that. My shit is imbalanced, like because it's like you have multiple. What keeps you in?
This is not for you.
It's like quote unquote in balance is the communication between three different bodily systems. Your eyes, your vision, your somatic senses, so your body. It's like it's in your legs, and then your vestibular senses, so your inner ear. And so but it's how they all interact with each other. And so this one is basically saying how you're getting conflicting data from your vision to what your vestibular sense is telling you. So you just like, I basically like, no. And I'm like heavily visually dependent. So I'm just like, no, I would put it on and immediately fall over.
Headset. Surround sound headphones, really expensive ones, and then the $1,000 omnidirectional treadmill that you strap into.
Yeah, and you'll be good.
Yeah,
you'll be in a harness. Safe.
So yeah, if I fall over, it catches me.
You got the compound now. You could just build a shed for that.
The barn is being unused at the moment, so
there you go. I might be moving in, so
just put it in the hayloft. I'll just put it in the hayloft.
But yeah, there was a mall in Burlington that had a gaming center, the one that closed down that I bought my headset from. But they had the omnidirectional treadmills, and it literally looked like human cattle. because people would be strapped in with the cable running
Hey,
up to the ceiling.
it's real
Plug it into the
cattle.
Matrix.
It's real cattle now. Have you seen the bit where they put VR
Yes.
goggles on agribusiness cows to like so they don't
Make
get
Make them see
depressed?
bigger
I have
fields
not
so
they
seen
don't
they
get
that.
can
That's
depressed.
produce better milk.
hilarious. Oh my god.
So
Yeah,
they
they
forget
give it-
they're in a
In like
Happy
a, yeah,
hormones
Age
produce
the size
better
of
milk
their
in
body.
cows, so they produce more.
Because like cows' eyes are like on the side of their head. Do they have to put like a separate?
no, they're
headset on each?
specially made. They're specially made, so yeah, it goes over like that.
Oh
Kind of
my
like
God.
fish goggles.
Ugh.
I'll let
That's
you get back to it.
dystopian.
I'll let you get back to it. But just like another thing again, like why the whole VR thing to me just seems woefully underbaked. I was reading through the thing you sent, and it was like how all this stuff. It's basically it's got some built-in sexism to it as well.
Yes,
It's like
that's what I was gonna get to.
the way that all like the design of these goggles are all like basically because it's like they were designed from gamers who are predominantly male, and the facial structures of men are different than women, and makes it so the lenses are not
Sounds like you're doing some phrenology.
yeah, but it's like so like the lenses are not in the right place, so like women get these symptoms much quicker, much faster, and more intense.
Yeah, it's apparently with the article says it's an issue with interpupillary distance,
Right,
Which you can adjust on most headsets.
But
maybe not on the
Only
maybe not on
adjust to
Metas.
the-
Maybe not on Metas.
or
They
just
put
only to
$30
a
billion.
male face.
They put $30 billion in, lost another 36 billion, and
Yeah.
didn't put in that feature.
and it doesn't work.
Just
for
because, like, I
women.
know my headset has interpupil distance and front to back to help adjust for depth.
Yeah, I don't think this one does. But yeah, effectively, this article was very funny because it was like, yeah, no one's using this for gaming, but maybe they're using it in the corporate world. And they talked to a couple of these companies that are testing it. The main one being a tech-focused public relations agency using this for their meetings. And there's just so many things. It's like the article.
We predicted this though.
Oh,
We
100%.
predicted this.
I've
No, and
long since believed that the future of like business in this realm is AR, not VR,
Yes.
and things like the Microsoft HoloLens goggles, where it could be
Mm.
replacing an entire computer screen setup for someone where they like their
And it's going to be like
virtual
it's going to be in Star Wars,
Minority
like
Report.
where it's like the
Or
Jedi
Tony Stark with his
council meetings
holograms.
where they're holograms of everybody, like you're sitting around like an empty boardroom,
Kingsman.
and everybody else's
Yeah.
seats are popping in, being populated.
Kingsman, the more popular movie franchise. I just think AR has more application for business than that. And like,
Sure,
I've
but
seen,
stop giving them ideas. Like, what
I've
have I
already
told
done
you?
it though. Like, this has been a thing. Like, Microsoft HoloLens is like a V2 product at this point.
Google Glass. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, it was. People hated Google Glass, but Google Glass innovated in a way that is coming back. People just weren't ready yet.
There's always like
the
one
tech wasn't
company,
ready.
PS Vita, PSP.
Vita.
we've said it before. We'll say it again.
But yeah, this article was really funny because it positioned it as, it's not being used by gamers yet, but maybe it's going to be used by the corporate world. Let's see how that's going. And they still were like, there's some good and bad things, but if you read the article, it's like
It's mostly bad.
Yeah, it's mostly bad. It's like
What we call
hard-
spin.
You can
100%.
see a spreadsheet, but you can't interact.
You
with
can't
it.
use it. You can't use it. Yeah, that was
It's
my
only
favorite part.
it's only
You can't-
overlays.
Yeah,
It's
and
only
you can't do anything. Like, it's just a projection that it's an overlay. You could draw on it, and then meeting ends. What did we write down? Nothing, because it doesn't actually save anywhere.
You have to then take your goggles
No, what
off
you have
and
to be
input the
doing-
values into the spreadsheet again a second
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, you're
Real
thinking
productive.
You need to be better at spreadsheets so you can spreadsheet without looking. You need
to
to be able to enter on a data field by feel alone.
Well, see, here's like again, that shouldn't be a problem. But then look at like what's being proposed for like the PSVR, where it's like you can like basically press a button and then it has cameras on the outside so that you can see what's on the
That's-
outside. It's like you can see the
Oh, it's
real world. You
incredible.
can
That's
turn off
incredible.
the virtual
Incredible.
thing and then see what's in the real world.
Incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Like I'm speechless. I'm just in awe. I love it. Like
It's very good.
the solution to the problem is to just, fuck up your brain even more
Mhm.
by adding more cameras instead of just, why can't they just flip it up? Like
Take
not you
the
manually
headset.
flipping it up, but like, it just flips the VR version and then you see with your normal fucking eyes.
Well, I mean, again, most headsets have pass through, and pass through
Okay.
works pretty decent. But no, we're thinking too small again. You're thinking put a headset on, you can see on the screen. Fuck the headset. Put a chip in your brain. And screens are in your brain.
Yeah, I mean, Elon's
working on it. Elon's
Yeah.
working on it.
He's
There's a chimp with
he's
it.
killed like
busy
700
torturing.
gibbons.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
busy torturing chimps to death.
But
making them
one
get-
of them's going to
have
become a super
schizophrenic
chimp.
breaks. Yeah, it's going to be
I mean,
Caesar.
I've read some.
from,
I've
from-
read
Exactly.
some
Planet of the
horrific
Apes.
things that have come out of that, where it's like
Oh, it's
some of
terrible.
the monkeys kill themselves.
No,
really
it's
bad.
really bad. It's
It's
really
disgusting.
it's really
It's
upsetting.
horrific. It's awful. It's really bad.
Until we get a Caesar and he, writes the world. We return to
Yeah, but
monkeys.
Yeah,
Caesar
we're
was
returning-
built
we
off of
actually
brain
return
chips.
to
Caesar was
monkey,
built
yeah.
off of Alzheimer's drugs.
Yeah. Also
You don't
true.
know what Elon's, cooking up in there.
All right. Well, just to
Not
just
Elon
to-
Simps.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just to wrap this up, yeah. So ultimately, like the use cases that these people are presenting are like, it's really hard to work with. It's hard to set up to the point where NASA had to set up a help desk to get their engineers to be able to use this. And I'm just like, people can't get on a fucking Teams call right 3 years into this shit. You
Yeah.
think this is gonna fucking work? Like, come on. There's
So,
no way.
Even
like,
even like the Gen Xer, CEO of this tech company is basically like too old to do this.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
this is how companies become appealing to Zoomers who've grown up with a VR headset since birth. When they had like the Samsung Gear VR that their parents would strap to their head so they could watch cartoons in the grocery store, or
Their
Google
hand-
Cardboard.
Or their hand is an iPad.
yeah, but
morphed.
No, I just think it's another article pointing to that this is still very much vaporware, and if this ever really, it's going to be a race between can Meta or someone make this.
I mean, everyone keeps thinking that Apple's going to be the one who mainlines VR.
Of course, because everyone's a fucking Apple simp, especially all the
Yeah.
libs.
For real, but
And
Yeah, I don't know. I
because
just
it's
don't
just
see
aesthetic.
this.
It's just
Yeah,
aesthetics
it's
over
aesthetics.
anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's the I like to wrap them both into the Tesla fanboy category, where it's just things need to be pretty.
Mhm.
yeah, oh yeah, that's a similar
lot of
that's the same
overlap
thing.
there. Yep.
But yeah, VR for the work is still very much just a toy. It's not making anyone's work life more productive. It's a pain to set up. It'll make you dizzy after 15 to 30 minutes, especially if you're a woman. If you wear glasses, there's an
I
added
know
layer
that's
of
in context of what we
difficulty.
said, but that just sounds sexist to hear.
Yeah,
The woman
delivery on
anatomy
it.
makes her more susceptible to dizziness.
It's
Our
like,
white
yeah.
They're
constitution.
smaller brains.
It's like she gets the vapors too easily. Yeah, it'll send them into
But
hysterics.
yeah.
The mania. We must ban marijuana because it makes the white woman like the black men.
It's,
Now we're doing some other things.
That was a real
It
reason,
goes hand
friends.
in hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still, we'll see. Will Meta run out of money before this is actually usable? My guess is probably, but people are trying.
I have a feeling that Zuck's going to be out before that happens, and they're going to install someone to write the ship.
For sure.
This is clearly Zuck's alien fucking wet dream, so that he can re-upload to the mothership.
But it's very funny. People, even in NASA, can't set this thing up easily. Like, there's
We
no
speak
way.
highly of NASA engineers. I've went to school with a NASA engineer. They're not the most well-adjusted human beings.
I mean, that's fair. Like,
Unsurprising.
no one's smart.
They're-
but-
they're-
when
they're
because
of
when
the
you're
worst
that when you're
adjusted
that
of the
because when you're
engineers.
that specialized, you are an absolute imbecile when it comes to anything else.
Yeah, yeah. Your brain has deleted all of the other.
I
You
think
can
like
write down an entire jet propulsion formula and calculate a trajectory, but when someone asks you ham and cheese or turkey, you just break down.
yeah, just completely maladjusted.
It's the SpongeBob episode where he becomes a fine dining waiter.
Yeah, forget everything
Yes, I
except
love that
fine
one.
dining and breathing.
What's your name, young man? His name.
classic SpongeBob. But yeah, VR in the workplace. Don't think it's actually coming anytime soon.
So the one thing I want to just pick out of this article is there's a company, and it's a media strategy company, or like a digital marketing agency.
Yeah, they're PR.
Called Zeitgeist, spelled
With a three
yeah.
instead of an E.
Yeah. In the second E, and it's all caps. That's beautiful.
Like a ridiculous name, but
sickos.
they actually had a somewhat nuanced view of it. They're like, yeah, they were, if I recall correctly, they were saying something about like, yeah, this is a little half baked. This is they had a little bit more of a
Half baked, the goat Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavor.
mm-hmm.
Doesn't
Also-
matter what they said, their name just
yeah.
invalidates everything.
Also, one of the leads of he's from NASA. His name is Chris Mattman, which I thought was kind of funny.
That's not a real name.
All right, so yeah, VR in the workplace. Good luck. You're gonna be feeling hungover after your virtual meetings for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
One thing I
that's
could
what they
say-
described it as.
One thing I could say is it's 70 years before the legal community would ever adopt something like this, so I'll never have to wear it. Like it took the pandemic to get virtual appearances in most courts. So, and that was, otherwise that would have been another 10 years coming.
Once
You're
we have
thinking
the
too
real
small,
Star
though.
Wars
Once they can
hologram.
get it to the point where they can strap you down so you don't have to move anymore, feeding tube, VR headset, that's when they'll implement it.
When you enter the Matrix.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking, like, this is all my story of the month, which moves realms in some ways. In a lot of ways, does have a lot to do with the kind of the virtual space, the changing from the physical pen and paper into the virtual reality. So there's been a whole hubbub in the tabletop arena due to the leaked proposed changes to the open gaming license for Dungeons and Dragons, for the new 1D&D. And we'll get into that a little bit, but like I'll just for the transition, it's a lot of people are speculating that this has to do with their purchase of D&D Beyond, because there is some shadiness with, like, that this is they're going to start cutting into people's profits. And they're like, but someone did the math, and it's like what they would actually get from it is so small compared to the money they actually make. People are like, oh, they're shoring up their control over the virtual tabletop space with D&D Beyond, and making sure that they're keeping control over that investment. But before I dive into it, are you guys familiar with what the open gaming license is?
I would like a refresher. Yeah,
I looked into it yesterday, so
I did not.
So it was referred to the OGL. Is called the OGL 1.0A. Like originally released in 2000, was updated again in 2014. And that's basically, like, despite what Wizards has said, that's the only times it's been changed. They say like, oh, it's an evolving thing. It hasn't been. That's not true. But what it was is that it gave creators a, quote, perpetual but not irrevocable license to what was called the system reference document, which uses 5th edition rules and mechanics. So it allows third-party creators to use and create their own and sell their own Dungeons and Dragons content. So that's basically things like the DMs Guild, all operated under the open gaming license. And so
I
like
assume
this
stuff like the 5e Dark Souls and stuff like that also fall into this.
falls under the open gaming license, yes. Things in like bigger companies, I mean, so like Pathfinder, it's probably the biggest thing that like comes from the open gaming license. But
Pathfinder incredible.
So this let that, so long as they weren't using, like, they can't use the Dungeons and Dragons name, they can't use specific monsters that in things, pieces that are like really explicit Wizards assets.
Yep.
But like you can say that this is, like 5th edition compatible and all that type of stuff. Like you can allude that this is, Dungeons and Dragons stuff without explicitly stating that and using that kind of stuff. It allowed you to make your own stuff and to sell it and to profit from it. So what this then started a few weeks back with some shadiness surrounding Wizards contacting a bunch of creators to discuss changes happening that were being proposed, but all under NDA. And so that someone leaked that request, and that started a whole bunch of online furor. It has then, as of recording, it was like the full document leaked yesterday, the day before recording, and so D&D was like trending at like 3 million tweets the last time I checked. And so there's a whole bunch of shit going on. So one of the biggest changes here is that under this new thing, which is being referred to as the OGL 1.1, it is saying that the previously available OGL 1.0 is no longer an authorized licensed agreement, meaning that after the 1.1 goes into effect, it's basically, I've seen it described this way, that like anything that was made before this new agreement comes out is still acceptable and would still could be sold and all that. But if you were trying to make new content, you must, say for commercial or fan use, you must sign this new one. That it is no longer valid. You can't keep making stuff for 5th edition versus this new version of 1 D&D, which, confusing terms aside, it's 6th edition. It's the new edition of Dungeons and Dragons. So like they've said, like, so the original one will no longer be an authorized license agreement. It further clarifies under a warranty section, saying that this agreement governs your use of the licensed content unless otherwise stated in this agreement. Any prior agreements between us and you are no longer in force.
Yep.
They have also made it so there was some shadiness, and I don't exactly remember how it differed, because I remember there being something when I was looking into publishing some stuff on the DMs Guild. There was something about like how, I think what it was is that Wizards like they had like the first or like not the right of first refusal, but like basically they had like they were able to like approach you first about purchasing your content and making it a part of
D&D.
their official stuff. But now it says anything published under this now becomes their own. They own it. They have it.
They're
D&D
pulling the
owns it.
university thing.
Yeah,
They're doing, we own your stuff.
Yeah.
So
everything like prior to that was pretty standard. But yeah, that changing up the ownership rights. So now is there a pay split?
Now they're now they're doing a revenue. They're doing a royalty and revenue reporting system as well. This
is just capitalism taking over. This is looking at a successful university system. It's not just universities. This is pretty much the copyright. Like they're putting it in like a work for hire.
Because I watched my senior project get sold as a product.
No, and that's one of like the quintessential ones that steals your IP like that. Usually with no revenue split, or
Well, this.
Some
So this
people,
this
yes,
does
but-
this does say that if they take it, you get nothing. You get nothing extra. It's there is the original revenue split. So this is how it works. It says no matter what tier you are, in your commercial sales, you must report all you must register all your work with Wizards of the Coast. Using something like a creator product badge or something that then will determine how much royalty you must pay. If you make more than 750,000, if you earn more than 750,000 a year, which you say is only will affect the real big name publishers, third party publishers, you'll start to have to pay royalties in 2024, and it's something like a 25% royalty. Is like their
terrible.
argumentation is like the open gaming license was never meant to prop up competition. That's like a main argument they've been making. But then what they say,
royalties only kick in at the at the $750,000 mark.
Correct.
Yes.
And then you but so it's like you're then able to make your stuff royalty free, but with then the exception of if they decide to take your stuff, you have no legal recourse because you've signed it away. You get no further profit from it. Like if they take it and make it part of their own product, you get no
They're
royalties.
not buying it. Yeah.
They're not buying it from you. They have exclusive rights to it. So yeah, in this like registration thing, it says you must register with us any new licensed work you intend to offer for sale, including a description. We'll also ask for your contact information, info on where you intend to publish the licensed work, its price, among other things. They couch that under like, they want to make sure that people aren't putting out, brand harming content. Things that are racist, sexist, homophobic, that kind of stuff.
This is literally just the capitalist eyes fucking gleaming after the rise of D&D in the past like 5 years, seeing it go from a kind of niche cult brand to a very, very popular, and putting like very traditional copyright protections into the licensing agreement now. So like none of that is like, it's not very surprising to see that's what a kind of like standard agreement is. The open license agreement from D&D to begin with, the original one from like 2000, is a kind of a rare occurrence that it was like so friendly to players and creators, whereas now they're just shoring up their money and finding new ways to exploit through the contract.
There are a couple more interesting points where they say like, that they're not, this only applies to print media, that the new license does keeps people from preventing and publishing D&D NFTs, video games, and all the like without a separate license, which again just makes it seem more
but
like
they couldn't save us from that D&D Dark Alliance video game.
I mean, they're canceling 5 other video games that are probably going to be of similar quality, because they're basically being like, we have to like, after something like that, we got to make sure that we're only putting out things that are good. But
they do what Games Workshop don't.
There's another thing where they're giving preferential treatment to Kickstarter for crowdfunding, saying like how Kickstarter is their official crowdfunding platform, that if you hit that 750,000 mark for your product, rather than 25% royalty, you only pay 20,
because you're getting it
5%.
quicker.
And it's just so like people are really fucking pissed, and like because they creators are making the
Rightly
perfect
so.
argument that like it is these third-party creators that made 5th edition so successful, that made Dungeons and Dragons so popular, so profitable.
How long until How long until they take away physical print media so that you can't even like buy the books and use the rule set to make your own homebrew game at home?
I mean, like they're definitely moving in that direction with with D&D Beyond as the new virtual tabletop, and them couching one D&Ds. Like we talked about it when they first announced it, that like they're making D&D into a live service.
That was a two of us episode. That was just
Yeah, that was just Matt and myself, and we're saying like, yeah, this sounds like a live service thing. Yet they're still doing a printed version, saying basically like, oh, one D&D is going to be this ever evolving thing where like rules and things will be updated and changed over time. That's why we're doing away with additions. It's just going to be D&D that will constantly evolve. And yet, like, you're gonna have to maintain a subscription to D&D Beyond. But yeah,
every company who says that always ends up moving on from the model at some point. Remember, Microsoft Windows 10 is the last OS you'll ever need. We'll support it endlessly. It'll be, just updates, and then here's Windows 11 knocking on the door,
which is just a Windows 10 with like a new gloss.
It's Windows 10 with an Apple skin.
Yeah. I mean, just Wizards has just been like taking, it's because of Hasbro, but like has just been taking just PR hit after PR hit, and it's like, which is astounding because they've had a financial drop because of a lot of these things. Like we talked about it also.
One other thing too, because Hasbro, like as a child, when I grew up, like Hasbro was a symbol of my childhood.
Yeah, but you remember Andrew? We talked about how they got their stock took a hit when Bank of America wrote a negative analysis on Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
Then they took another hit when there was a leaked investor call where the Wizards of the Coast president Cynthia Williams stated that Dungeons and Dragons, the brand, was under monetized. So like we see what they're doing now.
Now it's hella monetized.
It's pretty incredible. They have had their best couple of years ever, and they are just trying their best to fuck it up.
Yeah, they're just pissing away all any goodwill they had,
because they're consolidating under capitalism. Yeah. Like they're consolidating their IP, consolidating their brand under one roof. They're going to slowly do it. You'll see that this contract will probably go out the window soon once they are able to absorb the few whales that hit that 75, $750,000 mark. Just absorb their IP. So, just a way to exploit in the short term to absorb in the long term, and just fucking eviscerate this license agreement completely in the next like 5 years, maybe shorter. Completely just centralize the D&D brand and fuck over third-party creators that made them, and just suck the fun out of the.
Picture this: you're sitting at a D&D table. You're in a tough encounter. Your rogue is out of position and has been picked on by the enemies, and you're about to die. You don't have any potions in your inventory. You spent all your money on arrows. You look over on your D&D Beyond screen because everyone is sitting with their laptops at the table, as is now common for D&D tables. And on the side is you don't have potions. Pay $3.99 real money
for a pack of 5 potions.
Yeah,
no, one. The pack goes up to $10 for the pack. And you could pay in-life microtransactions for your D&D character. That's where this is going.
I mean, you're right.
Because we've seen this again. What they've shown for what they intend to do for the virtual tabletop, it's like they're trying to turn it into a video game, right? Yeah. And we've seen critique about this at all. It looks nice. It looks gorgeous. They're using Unreal Engine 5. It looks awesome. The fact that they're going to have pre-rendered and pre-produced maps and stuff from the published adventures, making your life as a lazy DM incredibly easy. That's incredibly enticing, right? But it all comes under, you got to subscribe, baby.
You're right. It's literally going to be a video game where you're just doing like the back end RNG by pressing extra buttons to get your player.
And then eventually they take that away from you, and all the dice is being rolled behind the scenes, and you never get to see the dice being rolled. And oh shit, that's just an actual video game.
Which has their place, right? But that's not what the tabletop experience is about.
No, I enjoy rolling dice.
Yeah.
I must be rolling the
And
dice.
having interactions with real
Yeah,
people.
I like
around
the
a table.
collaboration with other people because it's like
Yeah.
the people, my players around the table, like will always come up with a scenario that or react to a scenario in a way I could never
Yeah.
possibly imagine, right?
Yeah. Well, and then you're limited by the physics of Unreal Engine 5 and the video game that you're playing. Like you can't kind of
Oh,
like
can I interact with the chandelier? Can I do a Sia and swing from the chandelier and
Yeah.
Nope.
kick all the people around me? No. Can I like pick up this
Or, like,
barrel of
I
ale
know
and
in
turn
my-
it into a improvised bomb? No. Like
Like I know my
Takes the
DM in
creativity
particular
away.
has a cool rule where if like the party comes up
Yeah,
with
the
something
rule of
really
cool,
fucking
yeah.
cool, like
Yeah.
doesn't make you roll for it or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just it happens.
or like the save
it's-
for it is like
it's
super
swag. You got
passable.
Riz.
Yeah. No,
Which
I
Riz
I,
should be one of the traits that you get in D&D. One D&D. Charisma is now just Riz.
All right.
Are we Gen Zing all the words now?
Yeah, we're zoomifying it.
Zoomified.
Strength is just bruh.
all right. So this was a good one. That's
Mato
basically-
Town map.
Yeah. So what's been happening in the end of December and this little starter bit of January.
Yeah, we could fit those second stories into perfect uncut content.
Yeah, so we will see that later. We will, this is going to be way less of, aggregating. We're just, what interests each of us, and we'll talk about it and just see where the conversation goes.
I can't wait for 12 episodes in where every week Mike brings an Activision so we can't escape.
Just God damn it, come
I
on.
won't. I promise I won't.
All right, but yeah, we'll won't be another news episode for a month. So we've given you the reprieve, but I told you I'd give you a little bit of a teaser. Our next
Tease me,
episode
Daddy.
we are going to start our series of watching, reviewing, analyzing video game adaptations in other media. So we are going to start off with a bang and do the absolute box office smash hit of Sony's Uncharted movie featuring your boy Tom Holland and Marky Mark. I simply cannot wait to see Sully with no mustache. I'm sure it won't be terrible. Andrew has seen it already, making him
I've
see
seen
it.
This is going to be funny
making you
because
two
I
watch it
haven't
again.
seen it.
Me
And I've
neither.
never played Uncharted, so I have no frame of reference.
I've never played Uncharted either.
I-
I've only watched Ben.
So yeah, Andrew and I have played Uncharted pretty religiously, so we'll have some opinions, I'm sure, but like so you'll just have analysis for the movie, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to that.
I can't wait to like the
it's
movie
our
that
first
everyone hates.
it's our first official movie adaptation, one of our
You'll
first
never tell.
we'll never tell what one of our lost hidden episodes was about. Maybe that'll see the light of day. Probably not.
Well, I mean, there's two that we
it's
have.
got some real leftist audio going on there.
Yeah.
We will but stay tuned for what comes after that. Just give you a bit of a tease. We're going to be doing some more particular gaming focus, individual game or franchise focused stuff as well. That's where for the time being, because again, shouts out again to our previous editor Nico, who just from real world commitments it has left us. Matt, we salute you for taking on our editing duties, but like
yeah, I'm about to go spend like $550 on fucking Adobe products, so
we will so we're gonna go back
passwords.
We're gonna go back to three episodes a month for now until Matt gets a good flow going and we can think of what's another fourth episode we should do.
I mean, wait till it's just a 30-minute process and all I do is just crunchify the audio till it's unlistenable.
See if anybody notices. See if our play count goes down at all.
Maybe
it goes up.
Every episode
Yeah,
I
I think
edit,
so.
I crunchify by 1%.
It's more authentic. All right, gang.
It's the same way that One Piece has handled the I don't know the character's name, but apparently every chapter of the manga they've released, they've made her boobs bigger by like a
Because
microcosm. If you look at like
truly
chapter
cultured.
1 compared to chapter like 180, they're like twice the size.
Truly cultured. Oh, that just reminds me, Matt. Have you seen anything about the upcoming One Piece Odyssey game?
I've seen that One Piece fans really like it.
I mean, like I'm like
I
don't know,
also
it's an-
don't
it's
trust
an
One Piece fans
RPG
because they like a show that is 800 episodes.
I don't know. I may check it out. I'm not sure. We'll see.
They have a
Um,
card game too, a trading card game.
One Piece is
Uh,
huge. One
it's
Piece
enormous.
had a
And
movie
the-
release last
One
year that like
Piece.
beat every
One
other
Piece is
movie
real.
opening weekend in Japan.
Wow.
It's because the One Piece is real.
I mean, the trading card game is going on the up and up. You know. By the way,
Right.
check out
Mikey
Cut the
Deal's
Mic
checking
Gaming at
checking the different trading cards.
TCG Player. No, I will not be buying One Piece cards. That's too much.
Be sure to follow us on Twitch as well at twitch.tv/campaign comrades. Stay tuned to the YouTube. It'll probably be a while before we actually can produce something that
Well, I'm buying the
that
full.
can actually get up there. Yeah, but that's Mike's right. Share those passwords, homie.
Yeah. So there's rules there. It can be on multiple computers, but can only be logged in on one at a time.
One at a time.
So
Okay.
Usually, it's
don't
two
do the
at a
Netflix thing from 2012 where both people log in and get it banned.
And that would suck. All right. But we will see you next time. Bye bye.